Okay, would you please stand and join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Just before we get started today, I want to talk a little about order when I call the meeting to order. We don't need rude comments. We don't need cheers. We don't need clapping. We're here being respectful to each other and everybody up here as well. It's just core. We went to a new class and I learned some new stuff that we should be doing, and we're going to treat this courtroom and our council chambers with respect. So that's where we're headed. And like I said, no clapping, no screaming, hollering, no booing, none of that stuff, because that's disrespectful. So we're all here in one boat together and hope we come out here all in one boat together tonight. So like I said, yeah, I'd appreciate that very much. Everything that is addressed will come to the chair. After that, there'll be no discussion on public comment when we get there. So, and if you have a spokesperson, that's fine. They'll get 3 minutes. But if you're going to keep repeating the same thing and the same thing over and over and over, I don't think we need to hear 40 people saying the same thing. So that would be greatly appreciated. So. Oh, yeah, if you could shut your cell phones off, that would be great. That was a good beat back there, so. So. Thank you and welcome, everybody. First on our agenda is roll call. Rachel?
Councilmember Larson,
Yes.
Councilmember White. Present. Councilmember Dan Hahn.
Present.
Council President Cox. Present. Mayor Richardson.
Present.
Councilmember Stubble. Present. Councilmember Josh Hahn.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of agenda. As presented, I don't have any changes tonight. Does anybody have any changes or corrections?
No, I move that we approve the agenda.
Take a second.
Second.
Approval by Councilman Cox, second by Councilman Dan Hahn to approve the agenda as presented. Call for the question. Councilman Jay Hahn.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, first on the agenda is the public hearing. Wander around. I'm going to call the public hearing to order at 6:02 on budgets hearing. So I'll move forward and let open the hearing. Rachel.
Okay, I'm reading this for the city treasurer, Shari Lara. City of Lander proposed budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. General fund, $7,085,705. Enterprise fund, $15,778,935. Optional tax, $4,855,095. Economic development tax, $820,000. Airport fund, $1,076,268. Capital projects, $1,407,895. Senior center, $20,800.
Thank you, Rachel. We're going to go with the public comment. I'm going to start with the council. Council, have any questions, concerns?
I'm good.
Specifically about the budget.
Yeah, I'm good.
Other than to note, thank you to Shari for making the changes in Fund 54, clarifying the economic development recapture money and where it goes to from the Maven project. Much appreciated for that clarity.
Councilor Stubble.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment also, appreciation to staff for making fair and reasonable recommendations for how we use these funds. And I think that this budget reflects our priorities as a city. We are doing our best to look at what we can do to replace aging equipment and take care of problems that are legacy problems for us, and also plan for a future that is vibrant and provides the services that you all have asked that we provide. So I hope that many of you are here for public comment on the budget and we look forward to hearing from you. So thank you.
Councilman Hahn, do you have anything? Okay. So it's public comment on the budget. Okay. Since there is none, I'm gonna close the public hearing at 6:05. Public hearing's closed. So. All right, next, just remember, be respectful and communication from the floor. You'll have 3 minutes. Did we get the clock set up? You need help? Josh, can you reach over? You got it? Okay, thank you. All right, a communication from the floor. Do I have anybody? Come up and state your name. I guess sit in that chair right there. Yeah, there's a mic there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a mic right there. If you'll state your name and your address, please. There you go.
Hi, my name is Karen Wetzel. I live on Amoretti Street in Lander. I'm here tonight. First of all, I want to thank you all for allowing public comment. And I'm here today to speak to you about the events planned by Wind River Pride. You guys are aware, but I'd like everybody to know that we don't hate anyone. We've been called the haters. In fact, when we hold events, we are the quiet ones. It is those who oppose us who are loud. They scream through bullhorns or microphones and have cursed at us in public, which is, by the way, against the law. If they do that in the future, I will be asking the law to come and stop them, because that's what the law or the authorities have told us that we need to do. We are not against Wind River Pride or any other organization if they want to hold vulgar and obscene events in a private indoor venue. What we are against is that they hold events in a public place with children present while they're screaming obscenities through a microphone like they did last year in J.C. Park. The F word was out there many, many, many times. If they want to hold their events in a closed venue, then that's fine. With no children in tow, that would also be the best thing to do. Children don't need to be involved with the things that they're doing and that they're showing until they're of age to do that, which I believe is either 18 or 21. Municipal Code Title 7 Public Safety and Morals 7-6-1 indecent exposure and lewd list states, no person shall appear indecently exposed or commit lewd or indecent acts in any public place. In addition, Wyoming statutes Title 6 Crimes and Offenses states in 6-4-403, abandoning or endangering children, penalties, child disclosure or publication of identifying information, minor victim A. No parent, guardian, or custodian of a child shall knowingly or with criminal negligence cause, permit, or contribute to the endangering of the child's life or health by violating a duty of care, protection, or support. No person shall knowingly cause, encourage, aid, or contribute to a child's violation of any law of the state, commit any indecent or obscene act in the presence of a child, cause, encourage, aid, or contribute to the endangering of a child's health, welfare, or morals by using, employing, or permitting a child in any business enterprise which is injurious or dangerous to their health, morals, life or physical safety of the child. A person violating this section is guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by imprisonment for not more than 1 year or a fine of not more than $1,000 or both. A person convicted of a second violation of this section is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not
Excuse
more
me.
than 5 years.
Okay, Karen.
We done?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate your
I
comments.
just had one last question. I'd like to know which council member advised the Wind River Pride to show up early so they could take all the seats and leave us standing in the back.
Yeah. There's no comment back. Okay, thank you very much.
I also have some pictures if you guys want to see them, but I'll give them to you later.
That'd be great. Thank you. Just come up, state your name. Sure. You all right, guys? Yeah.
I'm Joan Jones. I live on 2240 North Second Street, Lander. I'm a mother, grandmother, and a great grandmother. And I've been blessed to see the fruits of moral and Christian lifestyle. I've raised 11 children who are happy, productive citizens, and I have wonderful relationships with all of them. And I also find great joy in helping those in need. I am not a hater. I actually feel compassion for those who follow the LGBT, et cetera, road. It's based on lies that will result in dangerous health choices, future emptiness and loneliness, physical and emotional pain, and destructive surgeries. Have you seen the pictures of the results of those surgeries? If you haven't, you need to. You need to know what you are supporting. Whatever sexual satisfaction and camaraderie these people are experiencing now, they should be aware that it is fleeting. And as far as bullying, I think the Pride community and the ones doing the bullying. I realize that people are mostly free to engage in whatever sexual behaviors they want to in the privacy of their own bedrooms. However, when they start pushing it on to innocent children, the line is drawn. That is grooming. Drag shows are not for children. Personally, I don't think they're acceptable anywhere, but if they must, then keep it in the privacy of the bedroom or in strip clubs. Why the urge to perform in front of children? Obviously, some sexual fetish is being satisfied, and that's sick. It seems as if outsiders are being brought in to push this agenda and to indoctrinate our children. Lander used to be such a wonderful place to raise children, but we are being infiltrated. For example, what does a pride float displaying drag queens have anything to do with the founding of our great country? The objective seems to be to destroy patriotism and all that is good and wholesome. The goal is the destruction of the family and freedom. It will increase moral decay and turn into totalitarianism. We already have laws against discrimination. This agenda is more than that. It's a militant effort to indoctrinate our children and destroy our liberty. Lander City Council, please use your moral integrity and courage to protect future generations. We tend to hear that everyone's definition of the word obscene is different.
Okay, your 3 minutes are up.
If you are towing that line, you are the part of the problem and putting our kids at risk. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Right there in the back.
Hi, my name is Annalise and I live at 285 Canyon Street here in town. Yeah, I think I just wanted to come up and share that I'm appreciative that we are having a proclamation. I'm appreciative of the people who showed up today in support of the LGBTQIA2+ community. I'm really appreciative to know that people will show up for that, and I hope that you all see that. I also find it really hard to hear outright lies being told about our community, truly. It's hard to sit in a space that is supposed to be nonpartisan and for speech to be allowed to happen that is false. I am a person who experienced grooming as a child, and I did not experience that in the queer community. I experienced that in a church setting. And so I don't want to say that every church has that experience, but that can happen literally anywhere. And that it's not just the LGBTQIA+ community that fosters that, because it's not. That is where I have found people who actually support me as a human and who see me as a human and who expect nothing other than me just being myself, and having a lot of love in that. And so I just want to share my experience, not to condemn any sort of religion, but to share that can happen literally anywhere. I also want to share that Wind River Pride, at this point, we have really strongly talked about not having a float in the 4th of July parade because of the harassment that happened to the children who were on the float. And we are considering their protection in that and their exposure to hate in that scenario. And it's something that it's a space that we don't feel comfortable being in. Even though we live in this country, we live in this state, and we have a right to take up space when there is literally no sort of qualification for having a float in the parade, other than just existing in Lander. So I wanted to thank you for your time, truly. And I, again, just really feeling a lot of love and support in this room right now. Not from everybody, but from most people. And so I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is Ari Camille and I live on 260 North 7th Street in Lander. I want to second Annalise's appreciation and recognition of the choice that you've made to make a space inclusive, welcoming, and comfortable for those of us in your community who are your friends and your loved ones and your family who don't feel safe and don't feel protected, don't feel comfortable walking down the street, don't feel comfortable going into businesses on Main Street and around town, don't feel comfortable being honest about our identities and our humanness and our existence. And that is just the fact that we live with that on a minute-to-minute, day-by-day basis is devastating. I want to take a moment to love on every single person who came tonight to support us. And I again, thank you, council, and thank you to all of the humans who came in to this room today to say we see you and we love you and we support you unconditionally. That is huge. I would like to say on behalf of Wind River Pride and all of the events that we will be holding, that at the core of every single thing that we do is joy and love and compassion, finding opportunities to come together as a community and be safe in these spaces because we are not safe in the other spaces that we can occupy in town. So when we have a drag show and we have tens or hundreds of people who come together, that is the one space where we can be authentically expressive and creative and joyful and compassionate and loving without fear of retaliation, retribution, hate, violence, or anything else that somebody might decide to impose upon us because of their ideological, theocratic, religious, moral beliefs, ideologies, et cetera, et cetera. So at the core of everything that we do and we organize as a group is because we are all that we have. And that has been proven time and time again. We are the only people that we can turn to for solace and safety and love and comfort. And that's a luxury to be able to find that and to be able to do that. And it's a luxury and a privilege to not have to think about having only specific spaces where you feel seen, loved, and safe. That in itself is a luxury and a privilege. And so I would just like to say, because some really, really horribly hateful things have already been said in the past 9 minutes, that drag specifically, I will just say it is a characterization of self-expression. It is
Your
a
time's up.
beautiful, it's a love letter to queerness.
Okay.
And if anyone would like to talk to me about that further, I would be more than happy to have that conversation. Thank you for letting me go over time, and I appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Okay, on over here.
Hi, good evening. My name is Fia Vincent. I live on 756 Canyon Street here in Lander. I'll make it brief, but I was born and raised in Fremont County, and I am a member of the LGBTQ 2S plus community. I never saw any public support of this community until I was an adult. And so I guess we can say that it wasn't exposure to pride events or anything like that that made me the way that I am. I can't express how much it means to me that we now have community events focused on honoring, celebrating, and protecting our community. I would like to say that in my experience in my life, that indoctrination in the truest form of the word did come from churches and people who really truly did go out of their way to try to mold how I thought about myself and other people as a child. That did make me vulnerable to predators as I grew up. So I would like to reaffirm what Annalise said about that is a problem in many communities anytime there is a power imbalance. Those who choose to fearmonger and sexualize our community must learn to live with the visibility and freedoms that we have fought for over the last several decades. When we rose to pledge allegiance to the flag, it says justice for all. That means we're allowed to be in public. We're allowed to use our freedom of speech. There are many things that go on in public on Main Street that I find offensive from other groups. And, that's their right to do so. Just as they have their rights, we have ours. And we are refusing to go back into hiding to make them feel more comfortable. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the proclamation. It means a lot to me and our community.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a look at the audience because I know my back is to them and I apologize. Hello, my name is Deborah East. I live at 484 North 3rd Street. I've emailed all of you from time to time, and it's awfully nice to be present here because all of you know I've been healing from hip surgery. It was a year ago today, and I walked in here. I rode my bike. So it's a triumph. I'm not unfamiliar with triumphs. One of my triumphs was having the chance to move to Lander and work here in 1978. I have been here that whole time since I was 24. And it was in 1984 that I realized I was lesbian. And I came out in Lander. And I had a lot of friends here who were not LGBTQIA, and back then it was LGBT, it was LGB. And a lot of my friends who were heterosexual, parents and not parents, gave me incredible support, because to find out, to realize at age 29 that everything made sense when I realized I was lesbian was fabulous, triumphant, and shocking. It was one of those things where I realized as people grew up, when we're younger, we don't know that there's a choice. We don't know why we don't fit until we have that realization. And in my case, I fell in love with a woman, and it was what was clear to me. I was raised by a heteronormative family who loved me. And it was hard for us. We talked about these things a lot, but it was worthwhile because I found who I am and I know who I am. And I appreciate how I've been able to do lots of things in Lander where I have felt welcome. The thing that I'm concerned about in our country and in our city right now is that we call ourselves a country of laws. And we use the laws sometimes to smack each other down. And this makes me very sad. I think it's important to be a country of laws, I agree. But I think that we use the country of laws standard that keeps us from learning how to speak to each other. And I do want to speak to people who disagree with me. And I've done that, and I've had conversations with members of the council that were heartfelt. And I have appreciated them so much. And I think that we all need to learn how to speak to each other on controversial issues of all kinds, not conflict resolution, but how to find a place of understanding and mutuality. Is that 3 minutes?
That's 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. I've had a wonderful 3 minutes.
Thank you for your, thank you for your comments.
Hi, I'm Amy Skinner. Thank you for inviting us here to talk today, and thanks for doing this proclamation. It's really important. I'm here today to honor and recognize people who are really important to me, who take care of me, who love me. And those people are my brother and his husband, my best friend and her wife, my niece and her partner, and so many of you in this room who love me and respect me every day. So I just really appreciate your efforts to love and respect all the people in our community. And this proclamation isn't a big thing, but it's one little way that you can show and our community can show that we really do respect and love all our community members. So thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Joseph Fountain. I live here in Lander at 420 2nd Avenue. And I came here today to show my support and gratitude for this proclamation. Any discrimination. It is very important to me and vital as a combat veteran, as somebody who was in public service for 25 years, also somebody who is a licensed clinical psychologist, to reinforce that we as a community are stronger when we tolerate each other. We as a community become much better at serving others when we acknowledge that there are differences of opinion, and those differences may be based on very strongly held feelings. But as a grateful ally to the LGBTQ community, I'm here to say as an individual who believes that the harm that comes from misguided hate, the violence, that standing up and making a proclamation that says we won't tolerate that for anyone. This is not a special interest issue. This is an issue that affects us all. And we here in Lander are very, very grateful that for this proclamation that reinforces that we're not going to let happen what happened in the Pulse nightclub, when many, many people were killed based on hate. We're not going to let what happened here, what happened in Denver, outside of Denver last year, happen here. Because we believe that everyone, regardless of their opinions, deserves a safe place to be who they are. And it goes beyond in those individual acts of violence. Everything that we know, all of the research shows that those who are questioning their gender identity, those who in their adolescence develop feelings of sexual orientation that are inconsistent with their family's values, they suffer rates of suicide that are much, much higher than the general population. The last thing I want to say is that opinions of hate that are clothed in religion and religious beliefs just violates everything that most of us understand about the Christian ethic. I'm a longtime Catholic, and to espouse hate or intolerance in the cloak of religion, that violates what this country stands for, and violates our need to care for others and ensure humanity.
Thank you for your comments. Somebody was in the back waving their hand. We'll get a couple more in and then move on. That it? Okay. Yes, you're more than welcome to come up and talk. Sure, come on up. You don't have to ask that question.
Hi, everybody. My name's Kirby Despain. I'm from Riverton. And I saw on Facebook that everyone was meeting today about the proclamation, which I want to say thank you for doing that. I know Riverton as of yet has not done anything. And so I find that very great that you guys are doing that. I wanted to come up. I wasn't going to speak today, but I wanted to come up because other comments talking about parents and not parenting their children and not teaching them, grooming, or, if a parent lets their kids go to a drag show, I guess then CPS needs to be called on me. So one of the things I wanted to say, I'm a mom of 3. I brought them with me today. I have a almost 12-year-old, an almost 8-year-old, and I have a 3-year-old. And one of my big things is I was raised in a religion all through my life. I decided when I was older, I wanted to teach my kids a little bit of a different way. And so I've instilled in them basically to be kind. And my biggest thing here today that I wanted to say is that the amount of people that speak very rudely about LGBTQIA+ members is really sad. It's really hard to hear. I struggle with, as a mother, People telling me if I let my children be a part of these things, that I'm doing them a disservice. And I think the opposite. I think as a mother, I am teaching my children to love everybody. My kids know what equality means. I'm not instilling bad things. I'm just teaching them that everyone is different, just like I may not get along with religious people, which is fine. I may not like some of the things they teach, but I still am going to unconditionally be kind to them because that's what it's all about. And so I wanted to get up and say that because I felt strongly that I'm actually very excited to go to Wind River Pride. I'm excited to go and take them. I'm excited for them to learn about the different people a part of that. And one of the big things that my 8-year-old told me the other day was, well, I don't understand why everyone has such a problem with people who aren't like them. And that's something I think everyone really needs to think about. What is the problem with someone being different? Just because it's not what you believe in doesn't mean that they're a bad person or they're doing something awful. And so I think what we all can learn from this, honestly, is to really take a look at yourself and be like, am I being kind? I mean, that's what I think is the only thing that I wanted to say was kindness. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, so go ahead and move on. I don't see anybody standing up now. Let's move on real quick. I just want to say a few things before we read the proclamation, and Councilwoman Cox will read it. We're a nonpartisan position up here. I want people to know that. We're here for all the citizens of Lander and Fremont County. And like I said, this proclamation was made up so it includes everybody in Fremont County. Shouldn't be any discrimination out there. I don't have a discrimination bone in my body, as most of you know. And I just want to put that out there that we're here for our citizens in Lander, what's best. And we know we're all not going to get along. We're going to disagree, but we need to be respectful and treat each other with dignity. And I've seen that not happen. And I think we need to do that. And I have friends on both sides. And like I said, we're not here to choose sides. We're here to do what's best for Fremont County as a whole and represent Fremont County as a whole. And I should say the city of Lander as well, because that's where we're representing. But like I said, listen to the proclamation. This is for everybody. This has got to be, this. Don't exclude anybody out of this proclamation. This is for everybody, because I think we need to go back the way Lander was years ago and respecting each other. And we forgot how to do that during COVID, during elections, during everything that's happened. Lander is a better place than what I see people showing each other. And we want to continue and go back to showing each other the respect and dignity that should happen. So that's what a reason that we brought this proclamation up the way we did, because I want to include everybody in this, because like I said, I have friends all over the place. Hopefully I have friends that are on the reservations, are very close friends. And like I said, discrimination happens all the time. And as Lander, if we see it as citizens of Lander, I would ask you to step up and say, stop, that's not right. Because it happens daily. And I see it. I'm one that gets discriminated against a lot. Just be the mayor. So, but just to let you know that we're there, and we want to stop discrimination. We want to stop the bullying in the schools. We'll help out wherever we can. All this stuff happens, and it all comes back to discrimination. So anyway, Councilwoman Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. City of Lander proclaims June 2023 as Anti-Discrimination Month. Whereas the month of June has been historically designated as a month which celebrates everyone's rights to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, or hatred based on their ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, class, religious beliefs, disability, or other lived experiences. Whereas the city of Lander is dedicated to ensuring that all people, but especially those most vulnerable to violence and discrimination, are empowered to live freely and authentically. And whereas the city of Lander is committed to upholding the rights of all to gather peaceably in public places as enshrined in our First Amendment, and acknowledges the continued need for education and awareness to end discrimination and prejudice. And whereas the city of Lander is committed to honoring our diverse community and building a culture of love, inclusion, and acceptance. Therefore, I, Melinda K. Cox, on behalf of Monty Richardson, the mayor of the city of Lander, along with members of the Lander City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2023 as Anti-Discrimination Month for all people, and commit to working for equality and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, and we're here to work hard for you. So as I said, you have a great council up here, and they're working hard as well. So thank you guys very much.
Mayor,
Yes,
I have a comment, if you don't mind, please.
go ahead.
Okay. Mayor, I agree 100% with the content of the proclamation. Absolutely. But I do not feel that there's a need for an anti-discrimination proclamation due to the state constitution, the United States Constitution. And as a member of the city council, I object to the proclamation, but not the content of it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Thank you for coming. You can stay if you'd like.
An interesting agenda.
Yes, it is. So moving on is mayor and council updates. Councilman Hahn. You have anything? Okay. Councilman Stubble.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a few updates. I will start with the Lander Art District, hosted a really wonderful event a couple weekends ago. The street fair 2 weekends ago. It was really lively. I was pleased to see so many people coming out into the community. The art district's leadership there reported that there were 40 vendors, 13 artists who were doing artwork in the moment there, quick finish artists. About 800 people attended. There was music, there were activities for kids. The vendors, many of them reported exceeding their sales goals. It's just, in summary, a really wonderful event. And I'm grateful to the art district for putting it on and for that leadership for building that type of community for Lander. Similarly, the farmers market is now downtown on 3rd Street. And that was equally lively the last 2 weekends. And I think that after the conversations we had last year about location for that market, I'm glad we landed on 3rd Street. It's a good fit for bringing people into our downtown and to benefit our businesses. The Conservation District, which I will represent you all on, is tomorrow, so no updates there. The Energy and Efficiency Task Force, 2 items from them. They are looking for a volunteer to help inform their work around demand charges and energy monitoring efforts, particularly someone who has electrical knowledge to help select monitoring equipment. So if you're in the room and you have that skill set or you know of someone who does, please be in touch about volunteering some time to help inform our energy efficiency work. And lastly, as we've just done with this proclamation, I want to thank everyone who's come today and who has emailed us. It is so helpful to hear your perspectives about the vision you have for Lander, your beliefs, what you want to see for this town. This is a month where we celebrate Pride. It's a time for me to celebrate the strides we've made towards equality and to reflect on the work we still have to do. I'd like to say that we have arrived at a time when members of our community don't face harm and don't face distress because of who they are and who they love. And I can't say that we've arrived at that time, but I want to say that we haven't arrived at that time yet, and that there is still work to do. I'm committed to doing that work. And I am so grateful to Wind River Pride for the brave community building that you do every day to help us get to that point. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple of things. First of all, I was able to attend the Wyoming Association of Municipalities meeting in Cody. And Councilwoman White was there, myself, the mayor, Shari joined us. That was just the four of us, right? And it's always well worth the time. And just so folks in the audience, since you're here, we do have requirements for basic education, even though it may not seem like it. We do, we do receive quality information and training and continued training as it relates to how you run a city and what the expectations are and needs, et cetera. And it's always a good opportunity to get together and collaborate with other cities, municipalities, towns within our state who are experiencing very similar issues. Road conditions are a huge problem as it relates to the snow. And we talk a lot about the ripple effect. And, you know, I hope one of my goals from leaving WHAM is that we as a city council and a governing body can really look at what that ripple effect looks like, because we have some major changes, you know, with our infrastructure that need to be addressed, and we need to really start focusing on how we're going to do that. You know, in some capacity, little by little. I also always love when we receive our packet. One thought that I had, our agenda packet, as I was traveling about was, I would like perspective, and it's certainly not right now, but is it our job to proofread content, or is it just our job to read it? And I think this is part of our lesson. It might not be our position to be proofreaders, and that we read for content and that we span therefore. So I think, I don't know that Rochelle will appreciate that or not, but anyway, that came up. And also LIDA, they're part of the packet tonight because they have a recommendation for us with our half-cent sales tax funding and how that should be distributed. They do an amazing job, and we'll meet again tomorrow. The school district, the superintendent, Dave Barker, will be leaving June 30th, and Mike Harris will be starting July 1, correct? Correct. Okay. And also just a hats off to Brewfest, another great event that went off. I think I spoke to both sergeants. How do you get those high dollar guys to show up? Just kidding. I know why they're there. They did a great job intermingling with, you know, people like to drink beer at Brewfest. That's what it's there for. And there was really great interaction with law enforcement. There were absolutely no issues. And they did a good job representing our city. So I appreciated them. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Hahn.
So no typo bashing?
No typo bashing.
I wanted to thank the city for trying to keep up with the potholes. This rain and what we've got going on is really miserable on the street. So thank you very much for trying to handle that situation. That's all I had, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman White.
Thank you, Mayor. A few things. Senior Center Board met this morning. Their prime rib fundraiser was quite successful. Over 15,000 came in. They also appreciate whoever it was from the city that repainted their sign. And likewise, they also noted the city's efforts in trying to keep up with the potholes. They know it's a bumper crop this year and appreciate it. They are once again going to host their 4th of July pancake breakfast, and volunteers are needed to help with all of it, from flipping pancakes on the grill to serving, cleaning, etc. If you are interested in that, contact Jane Nolde, who runs the Senior Center, to volunteer. They will be selling tickets for it. It's $5 a ticket. Of course, if you're a volunteer, you get your plate of pancakes for free, as well as the sausage, whatever else that comes with it, and juice. Someone brought up to my attention today that they verified this with the city. So since we have folks here, I want to help try to get the word out that this individual received a letter. Someone took the City of Lander logo from any number of sources and made it look as if this company and the City of Lander was teaming up to offer some kind of special water line insurance. It has nothing to do with the city. I can't speak to the veracity of the company, if they are actually a good company or not, but it is not being done in conjunction with the city. So if you get that, please pursue at your own risk for that. Likewise attended the WAM conference, and great information, especially this one, major focus of our attendance was the boot camp material that state legislature is requiring all elected officials and potentially anyone who is responsible for public funds, which is potentially a much larger group of Lander folks, to take. And it's everything from understanding the budget, the ethics, et cetera, gosh, all told 7-ish hours, I think, over the 3 days for that. Yeah, and then some other things along with that, including how we use social media, et cetera, communication with constituents for that. So good information there. Along the lines of the other awesome things that folks in Lander are doing, a reminder that we'll be having the Lander Presents concert starting up pretty soon. They've got 4 terrific concerts lined up. And sadly, I was out of town for June's first Friday, but that's another thing that I think is both initiated by various Main Street businesses and beyond. But what a great way, like, we need to drum up business and let's make a party the first of every month and encourage folks to come out, shop, eat, different menus are presented. And I think that's a terrific thing that we see our local folks doing. That raising yourself up by your own bootstrap kind of thing. Also want to remind folks that the free clinic, Lander Free Clinic, is up and running. They're expanding 3 to 4 new clients every week. They're now up to, I believe, 40 or so clients, and they are actively providing care. They've provided literally tens and tens of thousands of dollars of care at a fraction of that price. And these are the folks who fall in between state provided funding or federal funding. So it's the working poor. They make too much money to qualify for that, but not enough money to have insurance. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And then on the last note, we talked about how to advertise places for distributing information about the revised water plans. So the last time I was at the Good Samaritan meal, they suggested absolutely we'd be happy to put out postcards there, as well as the Methodist Church. They call it their pantry. It's 2 big rooms. Pantry seems rather low way to describe it, but another place to get that information out. So I'll make those suggestions to Anne as well for that. So, and I believe that is it for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
You just had a comment. Yeah, Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
Water line insurance companies and sewer line insurance companies. Past councils and administration did allow private companies to use the city logo. So it is not a scam. However, it is not part of the city. It is a private company offering individuals private insurance for service lines. And similar to what Black Hills Energy might send you, they might send you something that say, the appliances inside your house are not covered, let us help you. So it is not a scam. It is a true company, but it is up to each individual household. It is not supported by nor part of the city, but it is a legitimate company.
Great. Thanks for that. I got different information earlier, so appreciate the correction for that.
Okay, Councilman Larson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank those that participated in the comments here tonight. They were taken and listened to, and there's a lot of good to be said there. The city is doing a great job in preparing for the rodeo. They've been up there. They've got all the grass cut around there. They've done just wonderful job getting things prepared and ready to go. And Hunter, I think I need to get with you probably and discuss some of the minutia stuff that we need to get done before this all gets put together, but we don't need to go through that here tonight. It is great, like the potholes and so forth. It's great to see a blade in the alleys. Man, that's been nice, to see those get smoothed out a little bit. So it's good to see them getting some TLC. Evidently, Melinda got to go experience Brewfest at firsthand. I've got to wait till chamber meeting tomorrow to see what was going on there, but I'm interested to see how that turned out. Other than that, I think that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just real quick. I have 3 graduates up here that graduated from WAM with the new financial status. We all come out there with flying colors, I think. So, but it was good. It was good to go in there and get re-educated and updated on policies, procedure, and finances. So as you know, the legislators have passed a thing where all councilmen have to get educated on finances. Anybody that handles with city funds, our boards and stuff that are involved will all have to be trained and stuff and do the same 8-hour class. It's grueling, but I think it was a good class. All in all, if you paid attention and you listened, then you'll do well. If you don't pay attention, take naps, you ain't gonna do well. So, but like I said, it was good to go up there, had a great time. Like I said, it was a good class, learned a lot. And like I said, a lot of new stuff tonight come out because this is the way we should run the ship. So, but like I said, thank you guys for going with me. So, and we'll move on. We'll go to staff reports. Rachel? Okay, Chief?
The Brewfest went well. We had a DUI event in conjunction with it. I don't know if you saw the advertising, and also that was truly the open up of the safe rides from WRTA. So it was encouraging. I don't know the exact number, but I know last year WRTA kind of piloted the safe rides and we only had 15 rides last year. And from talking to Gary Michaud, who runs WRTA, doesn't have the final numbers, but we're well over 150 this year. So it was, people took that opportunity and got the rides. Still hate to say that, in Lander alone, we got several DUIs during the event, which was kind of frustrating, but, I said the day that we have 0 DUIs in an event, I'm going to retire. So, we've been doing it for 7 years and, I always say the whole goal is 0. We don't want to have to arrest anybody. And you know what? Every single time I've miserably failed on that one. So, so the hope is that, at least the safe rides is a real bonus in the fact that, people took that opportunity and that they had that responsibility to get a ride. So, the only other things I have is a couple, we're gearing up for the 4th of July. So that's going to be a nice, fun, busy event again. Dogs. If you guys haven't heard, we've had 7 dog bites in the last 2 weeks in our town, which is unacceptable by any way, shape, or form. So we're going to start talking to folks because the way our ordinances are kind of like a few of our other ordinances, they're very vague and ambiguous. Our dog ordinance says that you have to have your dog on a leash or you have to have control of your dog. Okay, what's control? Obviously, so long story short, our ordinance is vague, but we're going to start asking people, can you put your dog on a leash? Or if not, literally, can the dog be next to you? Because 7 are, it's not. I mean, normally we'd probably average 2 a year and we had 7 in 2 weeks. So I don't know if the moon turned a certain way and the dogs all turned into biting zombies. I don't know, but something's going on with them. And then the only other thing is we did have an officer injured the other night during the process of an arrest. He totally ruptured his Achilles tendon. So we're going to be kind of scrambling because we're looking at about 9 months of recovery when it comes to that. So that's all I have, unless you have questions.
I just have a comment too. No.
So we don't take public comments from this time. If you would like to see the chief afterwards or something, stay and visit with him. Okay.
I think I would just like to add on to the DUI task force. So for several years now, the county has done a collaboration in trying to reduce DUIs in Fremont County. And I think the chief could talk about, land or Fremont County per capita has the highest rate of fatalities as it relates to impaired driving per capita. I shouldn't say, but anyway, it's a significant problem. And there's been a really good effort spent, a lot of time spent, a lot of experience in that room. That's a little sickening, actually, when you have to walk into that room, because it's like, these guys know what they're doing. They understand how to help prevent the problem. And one of the things that they talked about was prevention of DUIs. So that's a whole nother issue. It's not preventing drinking, because that's not what causes DUIs. Driving when you're intoxicated causes DUIs. And so their whole premise is that they're going to provide, because oftentimes offenders will be like, well, there's no other option. I have to drive. Well, that's not true. And so these guys have spent a considerable amount of effort in figuring out collectively how to resolve this problem. So they're working with Highway Patrol, all of our local law enforcement, as well as WRTA, who's providing, by the way, through support of a 1-cent sales tax to help with these issues and provide rides. And when you're at Brewfest, and if you've not had the opportunity to go, you should, even if you don't drink beer, because what you see is a collective effort of prevention. We're preventing impaired driving. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to meet with you. We're going to be there. We're going to acknowledge that it exists, and we're going to provide alternatives for you to drive. So in my profession in criminal justice, if they should choose to drive, there's the accountability piece, and you have to arrest and they have to be held accountable because they're choosing not to take part of this free service. And it's really, our hats need to go off as a community to that collective effort, because without that experience and those folks in the room, none of this would be happening. So thank you, Chief, for being a part of that.
Okay.
I had a qualifying question for me. Chief, is that 7 bites among the general public or 7 bites among the officers?
No, 7 bites among the general public. We actually had another officer bit too. I didn't bring that one up. So technically 8.
Okay, wow. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman.
Chief, also on the dog bites, were those any repeat dogs, or those 8 different individual dogs and individual owners?
It's 8 different dogs. And what we actually ran into is we only have 2 quarantine kennels. So the way dog bites work is normally you quarantine them. We've actually had to come up with ulterior methods of having the owners quarantine them, and then we have to watch them and hope that not the ideal situation, but no, it's different ones.
Great. That sounds difficult. Well, it sounds like your plan for how you'll interpret this ordinance makes sense to me, but if you get to the point where you want us to take a look at that and get more specific with what control means, especially nowadays with technology like e-collars, I'm certainly open to that conversation.
I'm sure some people will be upset by it, but we're going to ask them to put them on a leash, even though technically the ordinance says under their control. But the problem is, until we can ride out this storm, not everybody's dog's going to bite somebody, but you know what? We got a lot more right now biting people than not. So.
Sounds good. Councilman Hahn.
Chief, do we still have an escalating fine where you get fined so many times and then you go before a judge? Do you recall that? I thought we had that in the books.
Well,
I thought it went to like
yeah,
third offense was you went before the judge.
that's dog at large. Dog at large has escalating fines. If a dog bites, it's not escalating. It's literally depending on the bite. Like we've had one that's going in front of the judge asking for the dog to be destroyed, and we hate to have to do that. But the aspect of the attack was way over a dog just nipping at a heel. This dog actually physically ripped a guy off a bike and attacked him. So there's different, long story short, there's not escalating, but in certain cases I do not feel safe putting that dog back into the general public under any circumstances. So that one will go in front of the judge asking for the dog to be put down. The other ones always go, any dog bite always gets cited. Because if you have a dog, you have to control them. And when it comes to biting, sorry, there's no warnings if your dog bites somebody.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief. Hunter.
It's always tough to go up to bat after Chief. He always has the best stories. So I don't have anything other than crews are out quickly working to get ready for the 4th of July in town here. And like you guys noted, potholes and alleys and parks crews and crews are working on sprucing up rodeo grounds and just keeping on pace for that. Available for questions if anybody has any.
Questions for Hunter? Nope, you're clear. Regine.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It is grant season again, or still. Not sure which. I put in front of you one of our pre-application forms for the Transportation Alternatives Program grant. And that this year will be dedicated to trying to cover cost construction overruns for the Gannett Peak Safe Routes to Schools. Originally, we were going to bid Safe Routes to School this spring. We found out that we didn't have enough grant money to cover the construction cost as estimated. And we also found out that designs did not adequately address people's landscaping after we fixed the ADA sidewalk or put in new ADA sidewalk. So we're going back to YDOT with their blessing to ask for an overrun, and that's where our TAP funds will be applied for this year. The other one we're working on is last year we put in the Safe Routes for All. This year we're going to partner with the county and they're working on bike routes, multimodal routes on Tweed Lane, Squaw Baldwin, and we're going to partner with them in hopes of scoring better on our grant application. That will be a $3 million grant ask. We're also in August going to put in a grant through the Community Development Block Grant. And that is to try and acquire property to increase our accesses into the new Kaposia River Park. Let's see. Healthy Rivers Initiative is working on 2 cleanup events for the river this spring, and they're coming up really quick. One will actually be through the Climbers Festival. We got with the coordinators of the Climbers Festival and they're willing to have a cleanup event for City Park during their Climbers Festival. So what happens there is the citizens volunteer. The Parks and Rec group provides bags, gloves, and a place to store the trash. And then we have volunteers pick up the river and then we take it to the dump. The second one will be a separate event that Healthy Rivers will do in the next couple of weeks. That's all I have, unless you have
Any
questions.
questions?
I have a question,
Councilman Cox.
an opinion. I don't know what it is. So one thing that keeps coming up for me with ADA requirements is playground equipment. And one thing that I'm noticing, somebody brought this to my attention, of course, and so then I went and looked. We're limited with what's available on current parks. So my thought would be that moving forward, that be something that the city could get on board with earlier on, and then the cost would be, I talked to somebody at WAM, that the cost could then potentially remain the same. So if we're going to be building equipment, that we keep in mind that we're very limited on our access, our ADA access for current parks, playground equipment.
Thank you. And you're not the only one that has noticed that. There is a loosely organized group that has come to the city and even is working with them on modifying some of our existing parks and recreation equipment to be ADA compliant. And then also coming up with a commitment for future parks to be ADA compliant. So it's in
Yeah, and
the
I'm sure
works, I'll
that's
say.
where it all started, but I think one of the things that I remembered is putting together the city park equipment. You know, a group of people got together and we put that together. And we did that at South but we had a swing. One swing out of all of that, that was ADA. And so that's silly to me that we didn't think of that, but that was a while ago, so no, not even a little bit, so thank you.
So, you bet.
Councilman White.
Mayor, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I did want to share that in May this year at Central Wyoming Regional Airport, we had our second highest ever employments for the month of May in the last, well, basically since 2002. So, and we were just 99 shy of the various highest. So 13,000 employments, which is really impressive. So, and I bring that up, one, because that's part of our economic development tax usage, but more importantly on that, showing that the right service is indeed a component that our residents and our visitors depend on. And it's helping our businesses grow, helping tourists get here, and we're going to keep doing our best. That service.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, 1,300. Yes, I wish we'd have 13,000. That would be amazing, but no, 1,300 for the month. We will definitely be over 10,000 for the year, but no, we didn't get that many in a month.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Stubble, did you have something? Oh, thank you. I'm just checking. Okay, we'll move on. I think we covered everybody on staff, so. We'll move on to item 8 is the consent agenda, number A. Rachel, would you like to read that, please? Mm-hmm.
There will be no separate discussion of the item unless the council requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda will be considered on the regular. Does anyone feel like something should be removed? That being the case, the consent agenda items consist of A, approval of regular council meeting minutes from May 9th, 2023. B, approval of regular council meeting minutes from May 23rd, 2023. Approval of work session meeting minutes, May 23rd, 2023, and approval of the bills and claims.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
A second?
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilwoman White to approve the consent agenda. I'm gonna call for the question, Councilman Jehan.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to new business. Item A, Rachel.
Business is to approve the resolution 1286, repealing resolution 1183, and updating the city of Lander procurement policies for contracted services, public construction projects, and vehicle purchases. And this is the one that was presented at the last work session, updating those policies and to align with the changes in the Wyoming state statutes.
I move to approve resolution 1286.
A second.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Cox, second by Councilwoman Stubble to approve resolution 1286. Any other questions? Councilman Hahn?
Did that cap go up? Did it used
It
to
went
be?
up to 75,000.
Yeah, it used to be 35.
And went up 75.
Price of goods.
Yeah.
Shove it up. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, call for the questions. There's no more questions, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next on new business is B, Rachel.
Okay, sorry, it's hard to. Okay, B, approve resolution 1287. Appropriations and adopt the city of Lander budget for fiscal year 2023 and 2024. And I am prepared to read the resolution if you would like.
We just went through it with,
It was in your packet on page 45.
and we just had a public hearing on that.
45, 46.
Yeah.
Would you like?
Questions?
I
No.
don't-
Questions? No. Can I get a motion?
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution 1287 appropriations.
A second?
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Stubble, second by Councilman Cox, right? Okay, and since there's no other questions, any questions? Call for the question, Councilman Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item C.
Item C is approved resolution 1288, a resolution authorizing open containers on July 4th, 2023 throughout the city of Lander on Independence Day from 9 a.m. to midnight. And this is similar to what the city has done in years past for the citywide open container.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution 1288?
I move to approve resolution 1288.
I'll second.
The motion by Councilwoman Cox, second by Councilwoman White to approve resolution 1288. Any other questions, concerns?
Other than to remind the public to enjoy, but please don't abuse and be careful.
Okay. Call for question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item D. No new business.
Item D is authorize the mayor to sign the settlement and mutual release agreement. And this was the document that was in your folders that was confidential. Attorney Phillips, who could not be here tonight, wanted me to remind you that this was the document discussed in the last executive session.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Hahn, second by Councilman White. To authorize the mayor to sign mutual release agreement. I'll call for the question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item E, new business.
Approve the job description for part-time filing clerk. This was also on the work discussion, and there was discussion. I did make some changes to it. I added that it would be temporary, no longer than 6 months in duration. And then at the request of Regine, I also changed the qualifications where previously the minimum qualification was a GED or high school diploma. That changed to say that they are preferred but not required. Other than that, it's the same document that was before you previously.
Can I get a motion?
Move to approve the job description for part-time filing
Can I
clerk.
get a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Cox. To authorize job description, part-time filing clerk. May have questions for Regine. Go ahead.
Thanks,
Councilwoman.
Mr. Mayor. Regina, I think you were possibly away when we discussed the work session, but we did have some concerns about confidentiality of some of the documents we talked about, if some of this work can be done remotely or not. I'm not sure where we landed exactly on that. So I just overarchingly, I wonder, do we have confidentiality agreements for staff when they're handling these types of records? How do we deal with that?
We can certainly do that, and it is part of our policies and procedures, even as they're currently written, that they're covered by confidentiality, but I would be happy to create a document that would cover that. You know, this person were doing things for me, I wouldn't have them handle anything that's confidential.
Great. And do we think that we will allow some hybrid or remote work, or just have this be in-house instead of taking documents out?
Well, and we've decided if this clerk is actually scanning documents that we're trying to upload into Airtable, that will not be allowed. Those files cannot leave City Hall. We treat them that way now, and we would treat them that way with anyone that was scanning. If they were documents, you know, some planning documents that are not recorded, but we just need for our Airtable documents, those could be done remotely, but right now we do not have any remote setup for scanning specifically.
Sounds reasonable. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. No, anybody else? Okay. I'll call for the question, Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item F, new business, Michelle.
Authorize the mayor to sign Grow House Construction, Inc. change order number 8 for the Maven Outdoors Headquarters project, increasing the contract sum in the amount of $4,817. And Hunter, I think, can speak to that.
Okay, can I get a motion in a second first, or we have discussion? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve change order number 8.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilwoman Cox. Discussion.
I do have just a couple of questions of
Go ahead.
clarification. Thanks, Mayor. And I'm glad that you're here, Hunter, because this would not be a fair question for the chief, Rochelle. Is this not something that they would have done in the original, like, wouldn't landscaping be a part of it seems like it's coming now instead of prior to the contract bid.
Yeah, so there was, I believe it was a $31,000 was part of the landscaping. Maven themselves have added some more trees and added some more things to the project that they wanted to have the curb appeal that they were after. So again, like these fees are something they're gonna end up paying in the end on their own. So
Right.
these are additional trees and landscaping they've asked for.
And I do see the addition to the original bid, but man, change orders. I do not like them. I don't
Anytime we
like
do
them.
construction, we're having change
Oh,
orders.
terrible. Oh, thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Since there is none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item G.
May I make a comment about that really quick? I know we're done.
With
With change
Yeah, yeah.
orders, just really
Yeah, go
quickly.
ahead.
I feel like with the increased cost of everything, that it seems a little bit more efficient for taxpayer dollars. And I know that the Maven project is completely different and that's on them and they'll be paying that. However, for us to be really thorough about those proposals and things, because if we are not, those costs go up dramatically on a change order. And because they're, they are able to do that, that's concerning to me with roads, any kind of project that we're looking at, that we're really thorough. And I know you guys are, but I hate to think about
That's why
that.
we went back on the-
Yeah, yep, that was good.
So we-
Approve Resolution 1291, a resolution exempting blocks 1 through 4 of Main Street from the open container provisions of City Ordinance 2-2-12.
So moved?
Second.
Just that that's for the art crawl.
It is for the art crawl. This was requested by the International Climbers Fest, and I put the application in your packet. Val was the person that filled out the form, and she did a nice job in her application describing the event. I did let her know that it would be before the council tonight, but I don't necessarily see her.
My only concern with this is that it just goes to 4th Street. I don't know if there's other Main Street folks that would, we have right, I know it is, yeah. We just have a long Main Street, so it'd be nice to include everybody.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on, item H.
Accept Jim Corbett's resignation from the Housing Authority Board.
Like to say, Jim's been the housing authority for years. He's done a great job. Getting out there, so. And a volunteer. Dan, tell me you appreciate him very much. Well, he'll be best if he's moving to Colorado. That's gonna be a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thoughts, I put that one wide. Except the presentation for the housing. Call for the question. Councilman Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yeah. Right.
Do we have any hot flashes for a replacement?
Uh,
Do we have any hot flashes for replacement?
I think we got 3 or 4 over there.
We do. Like all of our volunteer boards, that was advertised on social media, and we currently have 4 applications in the hopper. We haven't closed it yet. The Housing Authority Board meets next Wednesday. They'll discuss the applications we've received to that date. There's actually a opening slot in December. So from the pot of applications that we have, that we will probably try and recommend both Jim's replacement and a replacement as Coralie Reynolds terms off in December.
Good, thank you.
Authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of agreement on NOTAM manager system between the Aeronautical Services AJM 336 of the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, and Lander Hunt Field, LND.
So moved.
Second.
Well, Chris is gonna be here to talk about it, so Reggie.
Did leave me the documents here, so he was on a fire call, you guys might have heard. This is generated by the FAA, so pretty standard. Adam has reviewed it. I will try and field any questions if you have them.
It's really just a very simplified way of providing a note amount to the flying public. You can do it online rather than having to call the VISTA or FSS. Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Item J.
Approve lift and LEDA committee recommendations for funding requests, specifically YO 131 gravel grinder award in the amount of 7,500. In parentheses, less than 50% of the total project cost, comma. Lander Presents award in the amount of 3,750, less than 50% of the total project cost. The Lander Garage Award in the amount of $67,500, less than 50% of the total project cost. Waveform Healthcare Education LLC award in the amount of $9,525, more than 50% of the total project cost. CDS Expansion award in the amount of $53,278.
Move to approve the Lift and LEDA committee recommendations for funding.
Second. Second.
No.
I can second it. Yeah. I get motion can.
I thought Andy had went AWOL. Not yet, huh?
27 days.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a concern. I've been catching some flack. We've talked about this, but and I'm not sure that, I think you're within your guidelines. But my question is, does Lyft communicate with other towns and the county where people are getting awards from one place, going to the next place, getting awards, and going to the next place, getting awards? Does the Lyft committee communicate with all these other entities that are giving money out? What I'm saying is if I've got my information correct, we're having people get from over here and then get from over here and get from over here. And so there are 2-3 awards going to the same person. And I think we're just, if that is all true, I think we're going down a bad path, because we have taxpayers that are very unhappy with some of the stuff that's going on. And I've told you before that I support this, but it doesn't seem, it seems like we've had concerns out there, and it seems like it's just going, we're going down the same path. and there's concerns out there that are being put forward, and we're not doing anything about those concerns. And I've told you that, you know, the half cent and the 1 cent tax is, I think, is very important. But like I said, if that's true, in this, what we're looking at right here, there is somebody that has been awarded several times. And for me, you know, I support this, but it just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like, and I know you guys are under the gun, you know, you got a lot of work to do and you got your own lives, but there are people out there that are really concerned with their tax dollars and where they're going, and I just want you to know that. It's not fun to have to talk about this, especially with a voluntary, you know, a volunteer group is doing everything they can to try to make things right, but there are people out there that are really unhappy. So anyway, that's all I had to say, Mayor.
I think we're- Has that year been up from the last time they got their first award? Waited a year before they come back.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things involved in that. One is, I agree with you. You know, if I was in your seat, I would be going, well, do we sit there and coordinate with the other organizations like ED and EDGE and MOVE? Do we compare what's up in front of us at the time? No, we don't do that, but we look at what each other does. Sometimes that information is a little bit old. But what I can tell you in this particular one, there are 2 items that are standing out there. One is, if we make an award, that money has to be spent within a year, and then you're not eligible during that year to come back for another award. In this particular instance, this person actually went like a year and hours or a day. I mean, they actually planned it out, so they were indeed eligible. Now, one of the things that we look at is this an award for a Lander project? That's the primary thing. But in some cases, it's not only a Lander project, but it is a Fremont County project, and that's where we're running afoul with awards from one organization and another organization. You know, it would be nice, I think, if we all sat down and had the same time frame and could say, hey, you know, did they ask you to? But in this particular case, it's a project that affects both the county and the city, so they went for both.
I agree with, I guess I agree with what I agree that you're doing everything by the book or all the rules that are set up. The thing that concerns me is we've had this conversation for a long time, and we've asked, at least I've asked, that we should all get together and try to have a roundtable, and that hasn't happened. And with our situation up here is we're working for the people are talking to us, and for us, or at least for me, to, even though I support all of this, to not see a change this far down the road and have to speak to the people that put me where I'm at. It's putting me in a bad spot, and it's hard to support something that you want to support, but you think that there's maybe some things that are failing the whole process. So like I said, I appreciate everything you guys do, But for me, I'm between a rock and a hard spot because I see things that don't look right to the people, and they're the people that are paying the taxes, you know, that are talking to me. So I mean, that's about all I can say, really.
Can I speak for a second? Is that okay? A couple little things. What Monty said and what Andy echoed, and I think what Dan understands is that the person, I think that's in question on this particular application, they did wait a year. So they received funding, and based on our current rules, they can reapply within a year. Another thing I wanted to clarify too is that the funds awarded by other agencies are based on taxes from outside the city of Lander. So the council is awarding the funds that have been put in front of you tonight. You're awarding tax dollars that are specific for projects within our city limits. So if another organization, whether it be Move or Edge, wants to award those projects within our city limits, we should probably applaud that, in my opinion. Because that's county dollars that are not coming from within our community, but they're going back into our community. So I would challenge you to think about it in that sense just a little bit. Another thing is, you mentioned the roundtable, and I'm not trying to pick on you, Dan. I just wrote down some notes while you were making some comments.
Sure.
So we did have a roundtable a couple of weeks ago in our work session. I know this is my second time being in front of you guys. I'm here. I'm trying to be that communication between LEDA and LIFT and the council. So if you have concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I've made my email and my phone number available. I'm more than willing to take phone calls and emails and meetings this time of year because I am an accountant, so I'm not quite as busy right this second. But I'm more than willing to meet with you to talk about some of these things if they come up, especially with your constituents. I hear it too. I meet with clients every day. I had a meeting today with a specific client that has a lot to say about this committee, and I have to defend a lot of that. So I would love to meet with people with concerns. So if you want to send your constituents my way, I'm not in your district. I think I'm in Melinda and John's district. So, but feel free to send them my way. I would love to meet with them. And on that, I know you want to respond. I would just say, you know, we did advertise for 2 open positions on the LIFT board over the last month. We only had 2 applications. So I know there's a lot of opinions within the community. I would challenge them, please come step up to our board. LEDA right now, we're down to 5 board members, including Melinda, who is our council representative. We have 12 voting member positions there. So if we have citizens that are that concerned that they want to tweet in your guys' ear, feel free to have them reach out because we would love some additional volunteer support within the community.
The last thing I would say is in your defense, it's been a revolving, you know, the whole board has been revolving. So there's new people and people leaving and people coming out and you lose a lot, you know, when you have a board that's been together for a long time. You know, it's a lot different than with all the replacements you've had. So anyway, I'm finished, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah. And sorry, I didn't mean to call you out, Dan. And that's, you know, to me, this is just one thing. Like now I've been put in this position, but I'm really taking it serious. And I know we've had a kind of revolving door with the LEDA liaison, but I plan on being here for a while. I think I still have 5 years on my term. And I plan to be in this position because I want to see you succeed. I don't think you have a bigger champion than myself. So, you know, bring your concerns to me and we will try to get those addressed.
Yeah. You could have just as well been picking on me because I have those very same considerations and questions. And I think more than that, I want to start with, I both appreciate and value LIFT and LEDA's considerations in the process they go through. And I would remind us that they're doing a great job following the guidelines that we set up. And this is part of my frustration that when I asked us to look at how might we want them to use a different framework, we didn't provide specific considerations back to them. So, you know, like we ended that meeting saying we don't want to, you know, fix what ain't broke kind of thing. It's like, well, I think it's it's not broken. I think there's room for continued improvement in that process. And this is one of those things for me that between these two businesses, a fairly high dollar value has been going to them. Again, all following the rubric that we as a council said we wanted LIDA and LIFT to develop. So I remain that in the position that I am, there are enough changes and improvements that I want to see made, that there are things that I remain uncomfortable about in how we administer this particular fund. Another one on that is in the salaries for another business. Again, that is totally within the current rubric of what's established. For me personally, that is not something I'm particularly comfortable with. From a number of perspectives, I have a hard time getting behind. I appreciate that, again, the thoughtfulness, and I know there was a lot of deliberation of LIFT and LIDA for that particular one. Again, though, from a broader public perspective, I don't have a good reason when someone to say, why the heck can someone apply for salaries for their job? And why isn't that something that is excluded? I don't have the kind of definitive answer that I would like to be able to provide folks for that. So I would like to hear on that. I know there was a lot of rigorous conversation about that particular one. So I'd also love to hear your thoughts about it and how you came to that conclusion.
Okay, so just a couple of things, and I don't know how previous presentations have been to you guys for your vote. But we do have, especially at the LIFT level, we do have a duty to keep a lot of that information. It's proprietary. It needs to be kept confidential. I tried to give you a little bit better a concept of what we were actually funding, whether it was over or under 50%. I felt like that was a good draw line to present to you to say, hey, this project is over 50% of their total project cost or less. Because we did talk about that when I was here 2 weeks ago. So we did have one project. Also, I needed to apologize because of that I did say in the previous meeting that we had not funded a project over 50%. There have been a couple, but very few, and they're fairly small amounts. So that being said as well, so we're not permitted to disclose. We are considering a new framework. I was here 2 weeks ago. We talked about this. I took in a lot of your questions. Unfortunately, this far into the process for this quarter, we couldn't make any changes, or we couldn't bring it back and be like, oh, let's make these changes. By the way, you need to approve these under these new changes. So we weren't going to do that. That is going to be considered by LIDA because we still feel like that there is a hierarchy here. The LIFT is the administrator of the grant. They're the ones that meet with the people. They score the applicants. They're the ones that meet with them. I think everybody up here has been invited to come sit through one of those processes. It really opened my eyes as a LIDA board member sitting there a month or a year ago. I was getting the overall information and saying, here's what LIFT recommends. Why don't you approve it? So now I'm kind of in the weeds with LIFT, and it's really an eye-opening experience. So I would invite all of you, if you have time, come to a LIFT meeting, see those applicants, see what the committee's doing, because they're the ones that are really in the weeds. Speaking to that hierarchy though, LIDA is supposed to be the go-between, right? LIFT is making recommendations based on the rubric that's in place, the matrix in place. They're the ones that score these applications. You may have a very bad application, but because they filled it out right, they got a score. They may have got 25% funding based on the rubric. They may be getting funding and it may not be the best economic development. LIDA is the board that's in place to be able to stop that. And then you're the last line of defense. Hopefully the goal is in the future, by the time this gets here, I don't have to sit up here and talk to you guys. You already know what's going on. You can make the motion, you can accept it, you can move forward. So.
Yeah, I can't reiterate enough. My concern is not about the rigor with which LIFT and LIDA are reviewing it and applying this application and the coaching they provide to folks to do it well and their presentations, et cetera. Not to mention the incredible volume of time that they put into doing this, again, all as volunteers. I think it's, my concern is more on our council end, that I would like us to continue refining the rubric that we're asking folks to work
Yes.
with. for
Yeah, and I
that.
don't disagree with
And-
that at all. In fact, it would not surprise me. I don't want to speak on behalf of the LEDA board that hasn't made the decision yet. But it would not surprise me if you saw some changes. A lot of it based on feedback that we've received from you, that we've received from the community. That is something that I will proudly admit as a LEDA board member that maybe we have not, we've kind of taken it. This is our first round with this economic development tax. We've let it play out. We're starting to realize now that it's probably not getting dispersed exactly how we want it. So it's really good and it's getting awardees money that probably deserve it. But I will admit, it still should be under evaluation process. And that should be, in our opinion, it should start at the LEDA level and then come to you guys. And it should be a working project. It should not be just a, here's the rules, we're going to play by them.
Great. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot of good information back and forth here tonight, and I think we have work session of this to try to provide some feedback back to on the framework. I hear that LEDA is working on it. I want to remind council that the motion on the table in front of us right now is to approve these recommendations, not to discuss changes to the framework. And I think it's our responsibility to look at these recommendations in light of the current framework that we have and accept these frameworks with what we have and not with what we want it to be. And so, Mayor, I would call the question on the motion that we have in front of us.
Well, the only problem with that is you want to call for the question. I understand this is calling the question, but we never talk about what we're talking about. I mean, the information we need, we don't get. This is the only time that we can really talk about things. And Councilwoman White, she said that, in the beginning that, well, we said that everything's good, but if you remember, I came to you afterwards and I told you, I think we have problems with this and we need to get together. So when you say everything is good, you're not taking into consideration the things that I thought were, all the people that are talking to me and all the concerns and every single time we bring one up, I bring concerns. And so all I'm trying to do is people are telling me, and it isn't okay in a lot of people's eyes. And we never get to talk about it. We never have meetings. We say the same thing over and over, and then everybody goes back to their lives, and it is a revolving door. And it's super hard to get anything done when you voice concerns of the people and nothing ever happens. And then you get to it like this, and then you're talking, and then, everybody wants to just vote on it. And I don't know. I don't know how many, however long this is going to go. A year from now, I'm going to be saying the same thing. But I just wanted to voice my opinion. It is not okay. And there are a lot of people that aren't happy. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this at how many meetings. And this isn't me. This is the people that I work for.
Yeah.
I mean, they have concerns, and I'm trying to get this out there, and we have not had a meeting, and we've been going on for a long time. So anyway, I'll get off my horse and phone even.
If I may, Mayor, Councilman Hahn, that's exactly why I brought this up in our work session, that I wanted us as a body to come to a conclusion about the changes we wanted to give to LEDA. And that was my frustration at the end of the meeting, that was the purpose of our meeting in our work session. And the larger body said, no, we don't want to create changes. And my desire to have that conversation was ended. And you're right, this is verging into rehashing our work session rather than the call to the question, but you are not alone in your concerns about it.
Just that I know that their meetings are open meetings, and I've been to them several times. Watch what they go through and deliberation stuff. They hear the council, here's invited, and talking about how they're doing
Uh,
things. So I think
uh,
they're-
Add one thing, Mayor. So I would say we are not obligated to award this quarter's funding right now. I want to remind folks that that is an option that we can push pause on the process. We are not required to provide the funding, so that again can be an option to sorry, Mayor.
So. On that, I do remember this discussion that we had. I think as council, we need to step outside the box and go to their meeting and give them input and stuff that we could find out what's going on and you could help us understand.
I'd like to make two comments. This has been an ongoing new procedure to us. It's a year or two old. And we're working on adaptations and changes now to bring it up. And what Eric said, I agree that there are a lot of people who are not happy about it. I ain't seen them come and participate in the lift procedures at all. And number two is I'm going to term out here at the end of this month. And I want to say for you, one of the things that you're probably hearing is complaints from people who are not putting in for grants. And I would bet that some of those people, if they had a project, they would be putting in for Edge, they would be putting in for Move, and they would be putting in for Lift.
I'll just make one comment.
If they had a project.
Yeah. I won't even make,
Okay, call for a question. Councilman, how do we do that?
Yeah, I do. So you don't find it odd to pick the same people year after year? And you expect the public to look at that as, oh, hey, this stuff isn't fixed?
If there's a legitimate project and it's not the same thing, if it's a new thing, no, I don't find that.
But it's the
that
same
odd.
person.
I can't hear you.
It's the same person though, over and over again, correct?
If they have a new piece of a project, no, I don't have a
Well,
problem
just
with it.
because the money's there doesn't mean we have to spend it on that. I think we could utilize it in Lotra. We could utilize it at the golf course. We don't have to spend it on people's projects.
Right.
They choose to open a business. They should have the money to open a business. And they're supporting, they're making a service for the people. And then they want money from the people that they're doing a service for. That makes absolutely no sense. If they can't get a loan to start a business like they have for years and years in the past, maybe
Mhm.
they shouldn't try to open a business, right?
Well, we do look at whether they have a marketing plan and if there's a future. You know, I agree with a lot of the things that you said. If there's not a good opportunity, they shouldn't be putting in for it because they're not going to be an ongoing business. And we want to see an ongoing business.
But we all have to pay for them to have an ongoing business.
No, we don't have to.
It's 0.5% sales tax, correct? So we're all paying for it? Is that? how
No,
that works?
that you don't have to spend a cent of that 1/2 cent tax.
No,
That's
I'm
your
talking
decision.
about the public is all putting in 0.5% on their sales tax, correct? So
Mhm.
that means everybody is paying for them to open a business.
Okay, what I want to steer you into is the reason we got into this was air service. The rest of this money on economic development is a residual that is our choice to look at businesses and support them to expand product lines, to provide jobs and all of that kind of stuff. But you're
Correct, and it
centering
was-
in on the lift issue. And I want to center in on the fact that the reason we got here,
20% goes to the airport,
Is-
10% goes to
the
WRTA.
reason we got here is air service.
So why did we give more than 20% of the 0.5% sales tax to the airport in Riverton? That's kind of a question. in my
Because
mind.
prices went up.
Point of
So
order,
how's that, if you agree on a 20%?
point of order.
The question.
So Adam's not here, but point of order, the question has been called. Discussion should cease and the vote should be taken. Please vote your conscience.
No, I'm in the middle of a conversation.
No one. We didn't get it.
How can you shut me down in the middle of a question? So are they public? Okay, good. It's not my concerns, it's the public's concerns, yes.
There should be a correction to that. They are not open meetings. LEAD is a nonprofit organization. But that being said, if you will contact me, I will be happy to get you to attend that meeting. Nobody's going to turn you away for sure. If you
Well,
want to
that's
come,
cool.
Josh, we have a meeting tomorrow night. I'll be happy to reach out, give you that information. You can come and join because we will be discussing a lot of what we talked about at the last work session that we couldn't implement prior to this vote, and a lot about how things are going to be moving forward. So if you want to be part of that conversation, I absolutely encourage you to attend.
Yeah, I just don't feel right about previously voting yes on giving more money of the 0.5% sales tax to the airport in Riverton. It's my conscience.
Yeah, my only comment to that would be that I think council ultimately overrode LEDA for that. And so you guys voted to do that. I don't know that that was the recommendation out of LEDA. I wasn't in this position at the time, so maybe it was. I don't know. So that was just my kind of 2 points. I wasn't trying to like step over you or anything. So.
A reluctant yes.
No, I want to see some changes, please.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, the one thing is, we have some no votes here and I want to see some changes. It would be nice to have those changes communicated down the chain.
Yep.
What are those?
For amending resolution 1249.
I move to approve resolution 1285, the City of Lander fee schedule 2023-24, amending resolution 1249.
There.
This document looks very similar to the fee schedule proposed by Council Member Stubble, discussed at the last meeting. There was one change in communication back and forth. She would like to see some changes, and they were highlighted in yellow in your packet on a breakdown for gazebo and shelter rentals. There, I think there was an additional breakdown of number of people and some changes there in terms of the rental fees, starting at $25, depending on, the number of folks that were anticipated to be at the event. I believe that Council Member Stubble thought that perhaps that would be more affordable for families and things of that nature, but she certainly can speak to that.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Madam Clerk. I would also highlight, yes, so I made some suggestions highlighted there I think we had in the gazebos, reservations were 1 to 50 people and then 50 to, 100 and going on up. And I believe most of those gazebos are used by families for small family events. And so it didn't make sense to have the same charge for 10 family members as well as 50 in a larger group. So reduce the size categories 1 to 20, 21 to 50, 51 to 100, and then lowered the costs relatedly so that these were affordable for families. It would have been $50 for a family gathering of 10 people. In our previous iteration, 25 felt to me more fair for that 1 to 20 category, and then it goes up from there. Additionally, there was feedback in our work session that I heard general consensus around that we thought about a proposal Councilman White brought up about doing time blocks for these gazebos so we could rent them out to maybe 2 groups in a day. And from what I heard from city staff was maybe some more time to noodle on that idea because the amount of time to clean the gazebos in between those groups warranted some more consideration. So you don't see that change here,
Right.
but we should entertain that at our next annual fee section, fee schedule look at. Then, I'm sorry, our next year that we look at the fee schedule.
I mean, I understand where we're at with this. I again have to express some disappointment that we came up with a proposal that worked for us, for some of our major users. We had a plan to, even though it's modest, to have some of the users contribute to the upkeep. And then we totally walked back from that and put ourselves back into a place where far less funds are coming in. I'm a little confused about what our thought process on that. I think we actually had something that would have done a little bit more to help with some of the upkeep. And again, the many items of deferred maintenance for our various facilities. And my own wish is that we had not backed off quite so far. I think we had something quite reasonable prior to this.
I have a question for Councilwoman White. Does it bother you that and I brought this up last meeting, I know that this is small potatoes compared to what we have with the community center that is going in it is taking a digger and nobody says anything about that. I just, and I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm just, we talk about $4,000 a year and we just are putting it, another 50 grand. I mean, the money just keeps piling up on the community center and I don't hear any comment. I mean, there's no comments about that. So maybe, and to tell you the truth, what you're talking about, we were talking about more information because we don't really have all the information that we need for that. I don't think so. But I think that there's a lot more, there's a lot bigger issues than that. We keep on hiring people and if we lose the half cent and the 1 cent, we're going to go back to the Stone Ages. I mean, we'll go back to where we can't afford to fix the roads. We won't be able to give raises. All these things will happen and nobody ever talks about that. We're having a big old squabble for 3 meetings over $4,000 or $10,000. And we got stuff, we're piling stuff in and things are going downhill on the community center. I just don't get it, to tell you the truth. I really don't. I mean, that's my comment.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Councilwoman Stubble had also asked me to reach out to park staff to find out about the bookings that we had to date and in connection with a concern about whether this should be retroactive or if it goes into effect tonight, if the council passes it, does that mean that people who have already booked are at the other rate or if they're at the rate that this fee schedule delineates? My feedback from Lori Eckhart was that there weren't very many ticketed fee type events on the books yet, and none have occurred to date in this season, and that the gazebo shelters were fairly minimal was the word that I got from her, and I just wanted to pass along that information. Sorry.
Mary, just thank you for bringing that back up. Appreciate that.
And one other thing that we should be thinking about. I mean, the extra taxes are a big deal, but the other thing that we've been living on is we've been living on COVID money and federal money, and I work for the state, and they just cut a lot of money out of their budget. So we're not even sure. We've got 1.5 years to see what happens with the taxes, and we're not sure what's happening with, the trickle down from the state. So, I mean, those are all things that we need to be, we really need to be thinking about, because I tell you what, 1.5 years from now, I mean, it could be, and Monty remembers, and yes, we remember the days when we had no money and we couldn't fix streets and we couldn't, and that's why I'm very verbal when it comes to this subject with, if people are mad about the way the spending, and if they do away with those taxes, there's people up here that are gonna find out what it's really like to try to run this city with no money. Because I tell you what, it could get really bad, and a lot of these federal, this federal assistance going away. So anyway, I'm ready to go.
You did. And second. Yes. Mhm. Yep.
Councilman Hahn?
Yes, I think.
Just,
No, we're doing yes?
I'm calling question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
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 No.
Moving on, item B, Michelle. Old business.
Item B is approve resolution 1289, the building department fee schedule, and this was separated out from the main fee schedule.
Second.
Motion by Council Clark, second by Council White. Hunter, this is yours. You guys have questions? Okay, go, shoot a second then. Okay. Councilwoman Cox seconded that one. Okay, Hunter?
Yeah, nothing's really changed on this, since the last couple times you read it. I have run it through quite a few contractors and they actually enjoyed the clarity that comes with this so that they can estimate a job and realize what the fee is going to be to add it to their bids versus the ambiguous way we've done our permitting process before. So the intent of this was not to change fees. In fact, it's actually reduced fees, a lot of this, but the intent was just clarity and trying to offer understanding for all contractors out there what the process is and what the fees are with those.
More comment. Thank you for all the work you did with the contractors and helping them understand how this works and where it's all coming from. That's much appreciated so they can be on board with where it's at. I was going to note that I've been traveling a lot lately and it's been interesting to me see communities in Utah and Washington State and some other places where on the welcome to whatever city sign is, there were smaller things saying things like, building fees were, building permits required and whatnot as a way of educating folks as coming into town. So again, by reiterating, thank you for your work. And also this is not a new thing. It's happening all over or has been in place already.
Mayor, if I may, I'd second the kudos, Hunter. I was surprised that I didn't get any public comment. I didn't have any emails or calls on this topic. And I think that's a testament to the amount of conversation that you had and that level of outreach. So I'm just in general really pleased to see how much our staff are having those preliminary conversations, those early and often conversations with these kind of changes. It's the kind of transparency and access to for the public that I want to see in our city. So thank you.
Yep, and our building inspector's been wanting to do what's new on our website and have the new topic of the week and have really just kind of be transparent with what fencing specifications are, if you do a street cut, what it looks like, and just kind of, most contractors were just confused at the process. Once they understood the process, it seems like they're really happy to be compliant with what we're doing.
Yes.
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 Motion for sure.
Move to adjourn.
Yes.
And a race.
Yes.
Councilman Misty White. On the
Yes.
question.
Yes.
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 Yes.